Hello, I'm Carol Talbot, the creator and founder of the Possibility Hub, taking you beyond the boundaries of who you believe yourself to be and opening to new possibilities. I've always believed that pain is a warning that something is out of alignment, and it's a belief that my guest, Dr. Niveen Al-Saleh, also fully supports. Now, Dr. Niveen is my go-to chiropractor, and she's carved a niche for herself in the chiropractic field for a number of reasons. I've always seen her as much more than a chiropractor. She's a holistic health and wellness coach with a specialty in body detoxification. She also reads your energy field so can address the root cause of pain. And rather than just doing adjustments, through a whole array of therapies from deep tissue massage, deep heat treatment, needling, cupping, and utilizing other modalities, she ensures that you and your body are ready for any adjustments and that they happen easily and effortlessly. So let's find out more. Hello, Dr. Niveen. Welcome to the Possibility Hub, and I'm very excited about today's conversation because we're speaking more than just your work as a chiropractor. We're also going into the realms of holistic wellness, health, energy, healing, and reading energy fields and all sorts of different areas. So I'm really excited about this conversation. Just to start at the beginning, though, nothing grabs people's attention quicker than when they have neck pain or back pain. That's when they pick up the phone. The question is, who do they pick up the phone to? Do they call a physiotherapist? Do they call an osteopath? Or do they call a chiropractor? So I feel a good place to start would be to share what a chiropractor, the field and area that it covers.
Thank you so much for having me on. I really appreciate it, and I think very highly of you. And you have been a sister, a mentor, and a teacher, and a guide along the way. So I really appreciate you having me on here. And before we delve into why should someone go see a chiropractor, one thing that just came through to me right now is that we live in a society that hasn't trained us to accept pain. So most people, we just avoid pain. And I don't think that's necessarily the human, we weren't born that way, right? Because if you look at a kid, as soon as something doesn't feel right, they connect to their pain. But I think the whole system basically trains us to avoid pain. And we find a million and one ways to avoid pain. So first thing I'd like to say, when you are in pain, the number one thing, this is just your body of trying to get your attention. This is your body of letting you know that something is something is off. So I think it'll be a nice way to first to look at pain from a different perspective and to see it more as a gift, allowing you to connect to your body, to come back in the present moment, to understand where you're at, to understand what curveballs life is throwing at you, and that your body's like, I can't do this anymore. I need your help. I need you to be on my side, not against me.
I totally agree there. And the challenge on that is many people have been taught to reach for painkillers. And that masks
exactly
the whole thing. And you see people continue with painkillers for quite a long duration.
Absolutely.
Thinking that, the situation is gone because they cannot feel it. Yet actually it's exacerbating the problem. So you're quite right in that pain is something's out of balance, something's out of whack. It's time to do something about it. And it's the body's innate intelligence to say, hello. It's not the purpose or time to reach for a painkiller. Or if you reach for a painkiller until you can get to see someone, but not wait. I see people months and months, and I'm sure you do, even years on painkillers.
Yes. And we don't, first of all, I would like to talk about the effects of painkillers. It really destroys your liver. And our liver is the most, if I was to say, all organs are important in the body, but the most important organ in the body, especially in our toxic world right now, is our liver. We have to save our liver because our liver basically cleans out the shit in your body. Your liver regulates the hormones. The liver creates happy hormones. The liver is kind of like your inner doctor. So the more you just pop pills, the more you're going to kill your liver, you're going to age faster, you're going to actually over time exasperate the pain. The pain is going to get worse, and you're going to go into a full other array of symptoms and possibly chronic diseases. So interesting you say this. And I really feel this has been indoctrinated by the pharmaceutical companies. And it's varying from different countries. So I've been meeting a lot of people from Jordan, for example, more so like age group of, I would say, 45 to maybe 65. And when they're in pain, all they want, like, what medication is going to help me?
Fix me.
No, yes, no one is talking about lifestyle changes. No one's talking about food changes. No one's talking about regulating the nervous system. So I really, really feel, what I would like to gift people or educate people on is let's let's start questioning our lifestyle. Let's start questioning. Let's look into pain in a different perspective. Let's move. Like, I think movement is the biggest therapy that anyone can go through. Let's start breathing. Breathing is so important to regulate the nervous system. Let's spend some time in nature. So little few things that you can do, including seeing pain as a friend, not an enemy. So I think that's where I would like to start our conversation. Why would someone see a chiropractor? So number one, if you already are acknowledging that pain is your friend, that you don't want to go on medication, then you're going to start looking into, I don't want to say chiropractic is an alternative therapy because that's what the medical community for so long wanted to place it as. I think it's actually an integral part of healing. And what a chiropractor really does is regulates your nervous system. That's what it does. And when your nervous system is regulated, your body has an innate intelligence. This is God-given energy to heal ourselves. When they talk about artificial intelligence, I think the body is divine intelligence, right?
Isn't it just?
Yes. And I think divine intelligence, it's going to always override any artificial intelligence. But we need to connect to the body to understand how precious and how sacred our bodies are and how we could create and heal from anything. And I think that's another thing, that the system that we live in, they don't want to realize that we can heal ourselves, that we could create things, that we are energetic bodies, that all of what we did was connect to the body, come back in the body and work on an energetic fields. We will never be sick. We were not designed to be sick. It's just the system, unfortunately, that we live in right now, from the foods we eat, the things we consume, to sedentary lifestyle. So being on our phones, it's just making us ill over time.
Now, you said sedentary lifestyle, and you also talked about the importance of movement. And yet,
Correct.
if we go back in time, the sort of advice that you'd get if you had back problems or neck problems was, lie still, rest in bed for a few days, which I can only think could be the worst possible thing. Yet, when you do have debilitating back pain, neck pain, or structural pain, it can be debilitating to the point where it's challenging to move. And I know
Correct.
when most people come to a chiropractor, they think of it, I know I do, of the sort of click, click, crunch, click, click, crunch. And I know one of the reasons that, you're my go-to chiropractor is you're not into adjustments just for the sake of adjustments. And
No.
you're very much into working on the whole system, but also preparing the system for those adjustments, which you use multiple tools, deep heat. You're the person with the deepest deep tissue massage I've ever been to. Cupping needles, so many different things that can help the body, the nervous system prepare. So when you say sedentary lifestyle, what do you advise when, if people are in pain and it's challenging to move, do you advise them to move somewhere along the line, or is that the link with physiotherapy?
Yeah, so that's a very good question. So do we rest? So that's the big question. Do you rest? Do you move? And so if someone is connected to their body, which most people are not, but if you're truly connected to your body and you're listening to your body will tell you exactly what it needs. And sometimes, honestly, it is take a few days, because if you look at as well, athletes, exercise can be another form of addiction and can be another form of escapism, again, of avoiding pain, because you get such a high from exercise that I've seen people avoid the pain through exercise, and their body retaliates, and basically they end up with a severe injury, and then they can't move for months. And what their body really needed was rest. Like, hello, I'm not a machine. You need to take care of me. So
I'm
that's,
laughing because some people, when we say, some people get addicted to exercise, I'm
yeah,
sure there's people listening or watching and saying, gosh, I wish that was me. They're the other extreme. What I liked, though, was what you said about, teaching the body to almost become aware of it. I remember when I used to teach yoga, and people would be in the most extraordinary poses and say, Carol, where am I meant to be feeling this? And I'd kind of go, where are you meant to be feeling this? You cannot feel, and as you said, many people have a lack of awareness
yes,
of body.
yes,
So,
yes,
so part of what
yes,
you're doing is teaching them to come back into their body. And
yes,
this is why pain happens. So it goes, yoo-hoo, hello. That teaches you, to become aware of your body. But again, with the alignments that you're doing and the rebalancing is to teach them, because just because people have, say, a pain in their left arm, our natural tendency would be focus on the left arm.
correct, yes,
If you're just looking for where the pain emanates from, and that's not the case, because that's the beauty of having a holistic view and reading the energy, that if you follow the lines of the body, you'll find that the left arm may be linked to the right neck, or
yes,
to the
yes,
hip and things, that you've got to look at the whole system, which is what you do. And then they can start. So you're not just adjusting them and doing things for them, you're teaching them to become more aware.
yes, yes. Awareness is key, 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 key. The more you are aware as a human being, the more sovereign you will be. The more healthier you will be, and the more in touch with yourself you will be. Awareness is key. Like, if anyone on a spiritual awakening or wanting to create change, what I would say first thing is bring awareness to your body, to your thoughts, to what you eat, to how you speak. Just be aware of all of that. That's a good place to start.
So when we talk about awareness and you talk about, how you eat and how you move and things like this, this is, to me, one of the differentiators and the reason that I refer so many people to you. And I know from the other side, you've also referred people back to me and saying, Carol, there's nothing wrong with their back. They need to go through something else instead.
Correct. Yes.
Because you're able to almost read that, well, you do read their energy field. You have that
Correct.
level of awareness to see what's really going on, whether it's stress related, whether there's other situations in their life, whether it's psychosomatic. So it's working from the physical, mental, and emotional level. So let's sort of segue into that energy awareness. How are you doing that?
So first thing, we are all psychic in the sense we can all read energies. I'm
Yes.
not special, okay? It's just I again had awareness of my psychic abilities, and I strengthened them and I listened to them. So like any muscle in the body, if you have a gift, or even if you don't have it, you want to activate it, you just need to practice it. So the more, I would say what helped me become more psychic was actually to become more in tune to my own energetic fields, because then I will have the awareness to understand, is this my energy or this is their energy? Because, it's
That is
right,
so key.
right?
I was just, when you were speaking, I was thinking about, okay, energy and field blending. You've got to come to the table totally clear and clean. Else, excuse the language, but your shit's projecting on them and vice versa. Not great.
Absolutely, absolutely. So you have to so again, one thing I'd like people to know in this thing, we are energetic beings. Okay? We need to really, really accept this, believe it, and start operating from this. We are energetic beings. And if we go into quantum physics, anytime two particles come into the same field, they are exchanging energy.
Yes, and
Okay?
information.
And information. Do you know how much touch, through just touch, or even without touch, by the way, you can exchange it, but even touch, that your cells, my cells, are communicating with your cells, right? So this is very, very important to be aware of that. So a lot of people, what they don't understand, when they're in the presence of other people, they're absorbing the other person's energy, and then they make it their own. That's why when you are aware, you become sovereign, then you can decipher, wait a second, this is not my anxiety, this is not my fear, and this is not what I believe in. And again, it's not about rejecting the other person, it's just about creating, by being aware, you can create these beautiful psychic energetic boundaries to not allow anything to come through to you. And Go ahead.
No, this is totally on track. Again, keeping both your patients and you clear and clean. And as I said, coming to the table when you work with a patient, that you're coming from a good space and place. And I know from my own practice, it's, I can't be supporting other people and helping them get the results that they want, because it's not me. They have to want to make those shifts and changes. However, I need to be on the side of 100% support. So if I have any doubt, then that's going to be projected onto them as well.
Correct. Absolutely. So I think it's being very much aware of your energetic container. That will be a good start. And as a practitioner, I have to be as well aligned, and I have to make sure I don't push on my own stuff to the other person. That takes a lot of wisdom and practice, and to be able to hold a safe container for the clients, so they could hopefully have their own realizations. Or sometimes if they're not connected, they're not aware, I just like, I do auto suggestion. Auto suggestion, a gentle auto suggestion to just bring back their awareness back into their body, even back into their emotional state. Because as we know, a lot of diseases can start from emotional blockages, psychospiritual blockages. Just to kind of bring people back to be aware of that, is very, very important.
Now, you're often seeing patients back to back. So here's a question for you. How do you clear the space between clients? Because I remember, and we've talked about, quantum entanglement,
Mhm.
that there's actually a photographic device that if we were sitting where we're sitting now and a photograph was taken, they'd see us in the photo. But if we leave where we're sitting and they still take a photo with us not there a couple of minutes later, our energy field is still there.
Yes.
I love that
Yes.
because it really gives people a tangible visual that, you leave a mark wherever you go. And if you're
100%.
seeing patients back to back to back, how do you clear that space for the
Yeah.
next person to come in? And I'm sure you have your
Wow.
own way of doing that.
What a good question. So I'm gonna share a vulnerable thing about me. In this, so many times in this I've been practicing for over 20 years right now. In the 20 years, when I have seen a lot of patients, I've actually gotten sick.
Yes.
And why? Because I didn't understand about my energetic body. You have to understand, as a chiropractor, which is what makes chiropractors um, popular, is like we need seven non-sexual touches a day to feel loved. So when you like your chiropractor and they're touching you with love and kindness and safety, it's super healing. But when I am doing that for a lot of people, and I'm not taking care of my energetic container, I'm not cleaning out my energy, I'm not cleansing, I'm not protecting, I will get sick. And I did. And that's why in between a few times I would take like a 6 month sabbaticals because I wasn't aware of my energetic container. I wasn't aware I was absorbing as well the patient's negative energy. So there was a time as well I wanted to quit this work because I wasn't doing well.
I
I got really
remember.
I got really sick. I am not there anymore. So because as I said, I took it as an opportunity to learn about how to protect my energetic fields, how to keep myself, how to have boundaries, and how to rest. So back to when we were talking about, do we rest, do we move? I had to learn over time how to manage my energy because I have suffered from chronic fatigue syndrome. I have been exhausted a lot of my life, and a lot of that was unprocessed trauma that was in on a cellular level.
Oh, we have to do the work ourselves for sure. And it's,
Absolutely.
it's not one hit and you're done.
No.
So let's go back to the beginning when I said, why would somebody come to a chiropractor?
Yeah.
Would they choose a physiotherapist or an
Mm.
osteopath? And here's the thing I've also learned about you is that you work in it's not just being a chiropractor. As I said, you're a holistic
Mhm.
wellness and
Correct.
health. Um,
Yes.
you also do energy healing and are very well trained, always active in your own personal development and clearing your own field. So I think it was the other day when you were doing some adjustments or when you were when we were having a session, and you said, "Oh, let me do some cranial sacral," which of course is the energy lines and things like that. So in terms of thinking about who you go to, is it more about the person rather than, oh, I need an osteopath, I need a chiropractor, rather than labeling? Because yes, people can say you're a chiropractor, but you also do cranial sacral, you're also doing physiotherapy, deep tissue massage, you're doing the cupping, the needling, you're using ultrasound and a lot of other equipment as well. So,
Yeah. Yeah. How do you pick the right person for you?
yes.
Yeah, that's a good question. So I definitely will use intuition. By the way, they're doing some work in my house can you hear it or you're
No,
fine?
and I was wondering if it was in my house or next door, but
Yeah, I
um,
don't know what's
I checked something earlier actually because
can you
the
hear it or
AC.
you're fine?
No, I can hear it, but it won't pick up on the recording. We'll
Okay.
be fine.
Okay. So how do you pick the right practitioner? So number one, I would say is word of mouth. I think word of mouth is especially from people that you like and trust, that they would give you an honest review about a doctor, because as you know, on social media and a website, many people can really pump themselves up. They're great at marketing, but that doesn't mean the service matches up to that. So I would say word of mouth. And I would say when you
Yes.
first go and do a consultation, is just to sit in how you feel in the presence of that person. Do you feel safe? Do you feel, yeah, do you feel safe? Does your body relax? Do you feel that the person's actually listening to you? Do you know how many people don't ask the right questions and don't take time to get to know their clients? Like, I like to take my time, and I know this goes against making money because you got to make a lot of money, but I don't focus on that. If I feel the patient needs time, I will give them the time that is needed, because I feel that is on its own a therapy. Some people just don't have the right support system around them to offload, or don't have anyone to listen to them. Like, we don't understand the power of listening. Just someone just listening to you. It's so powerful and it's so healing. And it's just you feel loved. You really do.
There's
Um
something to be said that when you feel that you're in the hands of someone that you can totally support.
yeah,
And there's a difference, I think, between support as opposed to the person who comes and says, fix me, and takes
correct.
no responsibility. So I
Correct.
know with the work that you do, you're educating people. And as we've talked about,
Absolutely.
giving that
Absolutely.
awareness to come back into the body and things like that, so that it's more than just, and this is also testament to the fact that, yes, if you're a chiropractor, people can come in, you do the adjustments, off they go. However, mentally, emotionally, spiritually, and physically, they may not be ready for that adjustment because
Yeah.
there's a certain amount of trust that you have to, let yourself go. And I know, I think when you make an adjustment on me, you've always got my body really ready, as I said, through deep heat,
Yes,
massage,
absolutely.
and it takes as
Absolutely.
long as it takes, which means when the adjustment happens, it happens easily, but that trust needs to be there because, you can easily, your body will tense up because they, as you're moving them, they know something's going to happen. And there's that natural resistance because something's going to be sort of put back in place. So I know I make a conscious effort myself to kind of like just let yourself go. And you also know that I usually laugh afterwards. It really is a release. I don't know whether other people laugh, cry, or whatever, but it's a release in so many ways as your sort of body opens up from sort of being stuck or closed or in that pain. So let's talk a little about the different aspects that you do, from cupping, needles, and what they do as well to support a person.
Yeah, I think I definitely do prep work before the alignment because I don't believe you should align just cold. I call it a cold adjustment.
Yes.
Uh, yeah, I don't I know a lot of chiropractors who do, and I respect it, but I don't believe in it. I wouldn't want to receive that. I
No,
mean,
and I've been to
I
those
wouldn't.
chiropractors, and
I
it,
wouldn't want to receive that.
yes, and you haven't taken the time to build up trust, and that's not
And
just
connection, and
connect
connection,
with the body, but it's also so that the body, the energy field, trusts the person and can let go. Else, there's going to be resistance.
Absolutely. So, I usually would be able to tell from my clients who has the most control. And they like I'm like, because I could feel it. Their breathing gets heavier, their toes are curling, and they're just letting go, and then I would crack a joke about, do you think you're always in control? Who's in control? Are you in control or God is in control? And I have different techniques to kind of just break the ice so they could just have a laugh, or just breathe, and then they let go, and then I know the body, it's safe for the body to release, because it takes a you need to trust the person, that first of all, trust your body before trusting me or trusting a practitioner, to trust your body to let go. Because, I love this beautiful thing that there's a person called Mastin Kipp. He talks a lot about trauma. So when you are in a state of tension and holding, you're in your trauma field. And when you're in a state of release and you're letting go, you're in a state of rest and digest and more in flow. So the key is I really believe the continuum of life is we're moving from tension to flow and tension to flow. And the more we're able to move through these energies, the more we'll able to have more ease in our life and in our bodies.
Yeah, totally. So when people think of coming to a chiropractor, they think of, oh, I'll go to a chiropractor because I have neck pain or back pain. And let's face it, with the prevalence of people spending so much time on devices, and especially a smart device, so your head's down. So I'm sure you see a lot of people and young people with neck issues these days. However, I know that you work with people, that it's, and you alluded to it there, trauma, stress, migraines, headaches. So it's not just if your back hurts or your neck hurts that you
Yeah,
go to a
absolutely.
chiropractor. And actually, my belief, and I'll put my hand up, I don't follow it, is that you should really go and see a chiropractor every month or every week, not every week, but every month, or 6 weeks, just for an alignment and to get back into balance. Just because whether a woman's carrying a heavy handbag and
Mhm.
misalignment, little things happen that knock
Right.
you. So it's not just because your back hurts that you go to a chiropractor. It could be
Mhm.
many other things. And I know, can you give us a couple of
Correct.
examples of
Yes.
people that
So
you've?
I loved what you said. You said we go to a chiropractor to get to be in balance. So that's when you're in balance, that means your nervous system is regulated. That means the mind and the body is communicating beautifully. The body is sending signals to the brain, and the brain is sending signals to the body, where we have awareness of our field, where we're connected to our emotional body. That's what it really means when we're in balance. So what a chiropractor does is just kind of bring that in, bring your field back into balance, which means your right and left brain is in sync, and that means hopefully over time you can drop into your heart. And we know the key to being in a state of peace is to be in the heart field. But what I do as a chiropractor, not just a chiropractor. I believe now because we live in a very toxic world and we're exposed to so many toxins. We need to address, and plus we're coming from an era of our parents and our ancestors didn't weren't really aware of energetic fields. I think that that information has been suppressed or not shared or not aware. So we're moving from that generation, uh, of a lot of us are like, whoa, we got a lot of trauma. And it's not even mine. Some of it is mine, some of it I've just inherited. Because the science of epigenetics, we can inherit the
Yes.
trauma of our ancestors up to 7 generations. So, so a lot of this trauma sits on a cellular level. And then you have toxins in the air, in the food, and in certain inoculations that they have promoted, and overuse of antibiotics, all of this. And as well, no one has actually, which you're great at that, no one has taught us how to think positive or how to think. We need to think right to be right and to create better reality and better health. So you got to look at three things: toxins, trauma, and thoughts, because you can get an adjustment, but if you don't address these three things, you're going to go out of balance in
It's
24
just
hours.
going to be, fixed, come back again, fixed, come back
Yeah.
again. There's,
And yeah, and a lot of chiropractors, I do believe, can somehow capitalize on that, which I don't feel is right. What I do, I feel my success as a doctor is to make sure you don't need me. You can come say hello, but you don't need me. And if you decide that you don't want to do the other things that are going to help you be in balance on your listen, you could be in balance on your own. If you really take the time and self-care and self-love, you wouldn't need to see a doctor. You really
One of
wouldn't.
the things I've always loved when I come to you is that you see the bigger picture. When people have said, "Oh, your psoas is in spasm,"
Yeah.
yes, you can see that, and you know that there's other things going on that have created that,
Yes.
and that it's not just that. The other thing
No.
I've always appreciated is that you're not just, as we've talked about, making adjustments, the click, click, crack, for the
Mm.
sake of it. You're preparing the person for it and knowing when the body is ready, the person is ready for that. And one other area I want to touch on as well, because if anybody goes to your Instagram page, and I suggest that they do, I think it's Chiropractor Dubai. And
Correct.
they'll see you with young children and babies. And I know you absolutely adore working with young children and babies. And, it's funny because I don't know anybody else when I was a child. My mother did take me to an osteopath. I
Ah,
still
I like
remember
your
his.
mother. Your mother's special.
My mother was very special,
Very special
and she still
soul.
is, although she's not in
Yes.
the reality
Yes.
field.
Allah
Um,
yarham.
she, and I remember his name, Dr. Strigner. He was also a homeopathic doctor as well. And I remember the adjustments he did because I suffered from migraines quite badly in that I used to faint and completely black out. My mother introduced me to a lot of alternative therapies as a child, but many parents wouldn't think to take their child to a chiropractor or even their baby. So, how do you work with young patients?
I love children.
I know
A
you
super,
do.
super easy. They're actually so much easier than adults. And once they feel safe with you, like they can trust you, they really fully surrender. Like because they're still in tune with their body. They haven't had the conditioning of the system to kind of disconnect from their body. So they're quite, even though they can't express it, but they feel it. They have an inner knowing, and I'm able to connect with that with them. Like I could feel them, and I can connect with them, and I feel with kids now it's kind of sad. I'm seeing more and more kids coming to see me. I think it's the use of the iPads. I think as well it's there's a lot of research saying that a lot of kids are exposed to too many heavy metals at a very young age due to unnecessary vaccines. I don't think they're all necessary, and a lot of them are unsafe, in my opinion.
And
And
look,
that could,
there's lead and arsenic in our water as well, which
yeah.
hinders
Um,
developmental issues.
Yeah, and I think a lot of, you know what, Carol, a lot of women are so exhausted these days. So they're just in a state of stress, and they're even linking when a woman is pregnant, she's a state of stress that puts stress on the child. I mean, you and your child are connected. Your guys are sharing the same blood. Your guys are sharing the same stem cells. So whatever you're going through as a mother, your child is going through it. And the biggest trauma that anyone experiences is the trauma of birth.
Yes.
And as well nowadays, a lot of the births are very traumatic. And that gets stored in the cells of the child. So I do believe that it's important for a child to be checked by a chiropractor to look at their fascia, their nervous system, their breathing habits, their nutrition. All of that is very, very important because the first 7 years is where they're growing, and they need to have the right environment so they could grow and build a strong, healthy immune systems.
So it's educating the parent and the
Yeah,
child as well. And I
the
can
parent.
only imagine if a child is coming to you in pain, how that shifts and changes that they literally, you must see them come back to life. And as you said, the prevalence of smart devices really puts them in jeopardy of spinal misalignment, and how that can really be detrimental in so many different areas of their life. And of course, the sort of, I always call it the hidden predator, parasites as well, which when you're
Yeah.
reading people's energy field, you'll be
Wow.
aware of if there's parasitic invasions there. And again, I was very blessed. We didn't know it, but when I was a child, my mother used to put parasite cleanses into the stew.
Wow, your mom.
And it's funny,
Bless
as
her.
children, we didn't know, but we had animals. So then, if the animals are done, we're going
Yeah.
to be done. And it's funny how when I speak to parents now, it's something they never think about because it's not spoken about. And, our conversation today, we're talking about, a much broader range of health, awareness, consciousness,
Mhm.
the things that people need to be aware of, that they're certainly not just coming for a chiropractic adjustment. They're
No.
coming for so much more.
Yes. I love to educate and empower people. I love it. And I have a lot of knowledge that I'd like to share. And because I feel when we listen, when we educate, if I educate a mother, right? I'm educating a whole community because that mother, mothers love to share. And really, who runs the household? The mother runs the household. So she's gonna take care of her husband, take care of her children, take care of her community. Like, I think it's important to educate mothers. And I invite all mothers to try to be as natural as possible. Um, to take care of their children because there's a lot of natural remedies out there to really reduce the use of antibiotics. And yes, parasites. I'd like to talk about parasites because parasites are a very interesting conversation. And there's a lot of research right now that it's linked to mental health. So people who over ruminate or overthink are actually just because parasites, what people don't understand that have their own consciousness. So I met this amazing, I keep bringing him up, like this amazing Japanese scientist was a microbiologist, and he really was saying that the microbiome, the good and the bad, they have their own consciousness, and
Yes.
they feed into our field. So if you're having negative thoughts, it might not be yours. It might be the overgrowth of parasites in your body that is just sending these negative thoughts into you. So this is something I'd love if you're open to it. We can speak about it because it's so interesting. I find it fascinating.
Well, you know that it also is an area that fascinates me, and I have many methods in terms of parasite cleansing, this overlooked area. And over the years, I've seen that so many chronic diseases and
Mhm.
issues are actually linked to different types of parasites. And as I said, to parasite cleanse on a regular basis is for me an absolute must. I think that's a nice way to sort of just segue into a little bit of a teaser for people, because when we're talking about parasites, it leads us into entities and energy and other areas as
Mm.
well. And to let people know that, both of us have been very involved in our own personal development. We've
Yes.
been read thousands of books, been on many courses, ceremonies, retreats.
Ooh,
We've been there,
it's
done
been
that.
it's been an
Got
intense
the
journey.
hat and the t-shirt. I know my friends all laugh at me as being a bit of a course junkie or going for another learning fix. And what we've learned about what's going on out there and the misinformation that we've
Hmm.
also become aware of, that is perpetuating the so-called new age or spiritual community.
Hmm.
This is another reason to educate people on discernment, and not just what's going on with you, but what's in your field and who is in your field. Again, we're very much taught to find a teacher, a guru, someone to follow, rather than have our own awareness and our own discernment. So if you're listening to this or watching this, be aware that Niveen and I will be doing a whole series of videos in the upcoming weeks, to start talking about the good, the bad, the ugly, the truth,
Yeah.
about spirituality, the New Age movement, and what's
Mhm.
really happening, and share a lot more about sort of the other worlds of healing, parasites, entities, and bringing you back truly into your body. Is there anything you want to add about that, and sort of tease people about some of the things that we're going to be speaking about in upcoming episodes?
Yeah, after I've been on a long journey, I would say from 2002. So it's been long. And I just always felt something was off,
Me
you
too.
know, and I can't explain that to you. And when you would talk to people, they're like, I would, like, what's wrong with you? There's nothing going on. And I'm like, no, something doesn't feel right. And see, as I'm saying this, I'm getting this uncomfortable feeling in my stomach. And I felt this as a child. I felt this growing up. And actually, in so many times, I didn't want to be here. I wanted to exit because it didn't feel right. Like I couldn't accept what everyone else was accepting. I couldn't. Something within me so strong, an inner knowing that this is not how life is meant to be. This is not how we're meant to live. This is not how we're meant to love. Where this is just not how it is. And that led me onto a strong, not strong, but a long spiritual journey, trying to understand. But what happened, because I'm a curious and adventurous soul, I don't know when to stop. And so are you, Carol. I got I went into very deep, deep places that I should not have gone there. And you can get lost.
You
You can
can.
get lost, you know? And I feel what has happened is a lot of the fake spiritual community actually promotes escapism, promotes staying in the mind, and promotes fake spirituality.
Promoting personal empowerment. It's like, follow me.
Yes, the
I
guru,
am the
guru
truth.
syndrome,
Whereas,
the guru
I think
syndrome.
we both work from a very open space of, the body has intelligence, your emotions have intelligence, your body talks to you, and you are so much more than you think you are. And, when people have said, oh, Carol, you changed my life. No, I didn't. Maybe I was the catalyst, or
Yes,
in some of our personal development programs shared these tools and techniques, but you had to be the one to pick them up and run with it. So to me, it's
correct,
very much about personal empowerment. And I think this links back to the discussion that we've
correct.
had today, bringing people back into their body and
That's
allowing
it.
their
That's it.
body to do what they do best,
Honestly,
and
if
you helping and supporting them.
and if there's one thing, so on my spiritual journey, if there's one truth I have learned that is going to save you from what I went through, is come back home. Come back in the body, love your body, take care of it. Because as we're moving through very interesting times, it's only through strengthening the body and being connected and having awareness, you're going to be able to survive the upcoming years.
What a beautiful space and place to finish this conversation. And I know that people are going to be inspired to get in contact with you. And it's like, this is the person I need to see. And as I mentioned earlier, Dr. Niveen is my go-to person. She's also somebody I've known for a long time, and I have enormous respect for the work that she does and the person that she is as well. So I'm looking forward to our future conversations. Niveen, how do people contact you?
I think the best way would be on Instagram handle at chiropractor Dubai. I don't have a website yet. I'm working on it, hopefully soon.
And you really don't need one because, as we said, the best way is word of mouth. And
Correct. Yeah.
you're always going to have referrals from me.
Thank you. Thank you. I really thank you so much for having me on here. It's been really lovely. It was super easy connecting. And I really, really hope that people would really come back in their body and learn how we have divine technology right here in our cells, and to always remember that in the artificial intelligence age that we live in.
And on that note, thank you so much, Dr. Niveen.
Shukran.
Thank you for tuning into this episode with my guest, Dr. Niveen Al-Saleh. and I highly recommend you follow her on Instagram, which is @chiropractor_Dubai, to find out more. As always, I'm thrilled to be sharing possibilities with you, and if you want more, then check out the link at thepossibilityhub.com. And if you feel that others can benefit from listening in, then please go ahead, share, review, like, or follow me on Instagram, Carol K. Talbot, or check my YouTube channel. And remember, you're always more than you think you are.